Hi, I'm Marissa. I work for Fearless, a digital services firm based out of Baltimore. I'm a DevOps engineer, and I'm currently working on automation for a project for the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. I'm here to talk about non-technical skills for technical people. So what do I mean by non-technical skills? These are going to be any of your soft skills, plus any skills that are not directly required in your career field. But these are important skills because they affect the way that you complete your day-to-day task. So there's something you want to bring to the front of your mind and work on in the future. Researching. So researching can be anything from going to a conference and listening to a talk to having a conversation with a coworker or going to the library and reading a book. But let's be honest, it's the 21st century, and the quickest and easiest way to find any information is to get online and Google it. So if somebody asks you a question you don't know the answer, your response should be, I don't know, but I can find out. Because nobody knows everything, but somebody knows something about what you're trying to do, and you just need to hone in on your sleuthing skills in order to find that information. So the first way that I would always do this is to just copy and paste your error into Google. In this case, I was making some Terraform changes, but I hadn't touched this exact resource, so I wasn't expecting to see a change. I literally just copied and pasted that change into Google, and the very first link had my solution. That's not always going to be the case, though. Sometimes you don't have something to copy and paste, or sometimes you don't get your answer. In this case, I was upgrading Terraform 11 to Terraform 12 and not actually changing any resources at all, so I was surprised to see all these different changes, and there's no way I can just copy and paste that whole thing into Google. That's not going to give me anything. So you need to be a little more vague and use keywords. So in this situation, I see the mounts are changing, so I'd Google something like Terraform mount reorder upgrade or Terraform subnet change upgrade, and that'll get you a bunch of different links that you will eventually be able to find your solution. Obviously, we all know how to read, but there's a difference between reading a fictional novel and reading any kind of technical literature. If you're reading a technical book, you want to make sure you're taking notes and bookmarking things that you want to come back to or you know you'll use in the future. But more often than not, we find ourselves looking at documentation. If you're reading documentation, make sure you read it thoroughly. Somebody's trying to teach you how to do something. There's not a bunch of extra fluff in there. You shouldn't just be blindly copying and pasting commands without reading the comments because who knows what you're going to end up doing. So those first two skills were all about learning. You do not want to have to reread all those things and re-research everything, so document, document, document. Make sure you're taking notes that make sense to you so you can reproduce what you did the first time. And I would suggest that you publish these, even if only internally for your coworkers to use. So if you're making a document that other people need to look at, make sure it's clear and concise with comments and reasons why you did things, as well as copy and pastable commands with optional arguments. Don't just dump everything from your terminal because nobody's going to know what that means. Nobody's going to be able to reproduce that in their situation. As we all know, there's people from different walks of the earth in the technical field, and not only that, but you're going to be dealing with non-technical people daily, whether it be a customer or an office admin. You need to know your audience and be able to communicate with all of these different kinds of people. So, in general, treat everybody with kindness and respect. If you're having a conversation with somebody, you want to make sure you get your point across, but don't speak over them in order to get that done. Make sure everybody feels comfortable in the situation you're in. Daily communication is something that is especially important if you or a coworker is remote. You might decide that you don't need to stand up every single day, but something as easy as saying good morning in your Slack channel, that will get the conversation rolling and you get daily communication between your team members, which makes everybody work better together. Socializing, some people don't necessarily feel comfortable introducing themselves, so go up to the new person and invite them out to lunch. Or if you're in a group conversation and you notice somebody's kind of falling behind, ask them their opinion and clear the floor so that they'll speak up. There's oftentimes a stigma about asking questions in a public channel. Is it a dumb question? Does everybody else already know the answer? So you want to strive to make your public channels a safe place where people feel comfortable to ask questions without being ridiculed. If you're explaining something to somebody and it's a technical thing, you have to be careful to give enough detail so that they understand what you're saying, but not be condescending. So I like to preface my things with, I'm going to start from the beginning, but please let me know if I'm going too deep into something that you already know about. Disagreements are inevitable. If you're having a disagreement with somebody, try to take a step back and see their side. If you're having a Slack conversation, try switching to a video call because sometimes intent is lost in text. And if you're really not getting anywhere, invite a third party to be kind of a mediator in the situation. So these are just some of the skills that I find most important at my day-to-day job as a DevOps engineer, and my hope was that it brought the attention to you guys to think about what skills you either have or you don't have that you can work on to help excel you in your career. And I realized I only had 19 slides, so my 20th slide is just my contact information, so feel free to reach out to me if you want to talk about this or just find me at the conference. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Marissa.